It always makes me laugh when I tell people I'm an introvert and they start to argue with me. Like, I'm wrong. I'm not really an introvert. I'm an extrovert. But people don't believe me. It's really interesting. I'm definitely an introvert, though. Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Kayla, and this is where we talk all about project management in small teams. First off, I want to say thank you to all of my subscribers. Thank you for joining and watching and liking and commenting. I really appreciate that. And hello, welcome to anyone new who's watching for the first time. I invite you to like and subscribe. Let me know your comments. Let me know what you have questions about. I'm really passionate about this area, and I want to know how I can help you. Okay, on to today's topic. Today we are going to answer the question, can I make a good project manager if I'm an introvert? And I'll just give you the TLDR. Yes, you can. You can make an amazing project manager as an introvert. You could also be an amazing project manager as an extrovert. So being an introvert or an extrovert really has like little to nothing to do with it. It honestly does. And I want to clear up this idea that being an introvert means we don't like people, because I bought into that for the longest time. That was a message that I had internalized somewhere because I'm an introvert. And I always just thought that meant I didn't like people, and so I couldn't have certain jobs, or I wouldn't be able to do certain things in my jobs because I'm an introvert and I just don't like people. But that couldn't be further from the truth. And it wasn't until I discovered that I actually quite like people. They just make me a little tired. I actually quite like people. And I like interacting with people in my job. One of my favorite parts of my job is communication. And I really like that, but I just have to be careful about how I spend my time and how I spend my energy, because that's what it's really about. Being an introvert or an extrovert doesn't mean we do or don't like people in general. It has everything to do with our energy, though, and where we get our energy. So as introverts, we get our energy from being alone. Like, we need time alone to recharge. Extroverts get their energy from being around other people. So they need to make time for that in their lives. It's really more about that, not so much or not really at all about liking or not liking people. So that's the first thing. And then the second thing I'd like you to examine, if you're asking yourself this question, can I make a good project manager if I'm an introvert? Why do you think you wouldn't? Like, what sort of messages are you internalizing that is leading you down that path? Is there some skill that you feel like you're not quite good at or isn't quite developed yet? Is it maybe some communication or interpersonal skill that you want to develop further? If so, I think that's great. Actually, I think those are skills we should continue to develop throughout our lives, because they're not just professional skills, they're life skills. Being able to speak and communicate with other people, to influence people, all of that interpersonal sort of relational skills are important for life, and we need to work on those for life. So if that is why you're asking yourself that question, that's a really good thing to work on. And also, I'll let you in on a little secret too, is those skills, the communication skills, interpersonal skills, those are often the skills that if we develop those are going to be what lead us to the higher pay grades, or like the significantly higher pay grades. I mean, there's very few jobs where we can work in those jobs and do the same thing and really not kind of go outside of our comfort zone and get paid really well. Most of the time, the things that we're really looking at developing over time are our soft skills. So keep working on that. That's a definite yes that we should work on those. So to kind of get into being a project manager and like how much interaction do I have with people, because I think that is maybe more so how we can answer this question, is how does introversion, how is that in terms of energy management for me in my job as a project manager? Well, I work remote. And so that's both good and bad, because I do miss being around people and being in the office, but it's good for me in terms of my energy management, because I do allow myself, I have more time to be alone and to recharge. I have a lot of communication. A lot of what I do is communication, but it's more manageable and sort of like scheduled communication. So I could schedule my calls. I can choose when to respond to messages, but it does happen all day long. And there's rarely a day that goes by that I don't have a phone call, a video call with a person, but I am able to manage that. So that's something that you'll want to keep in mind. You do need to develop, as I say, these interpersonal skills, because you're going to have meetings where you're looked at the person who is directing and leading that meeting. So you'll need to develop those skills and be comfortable in those situations. And it doesn't happen overnight. It really doesn't. So it's okay if you don't feel comfortable right away, but developing that comfort level is a really good thing. A trick that I learned from, I think it was gosh, what is the name of that book? I'll remember it and I'll link it. It was by Mel Robbins, and the 5-second rule. I think it's called the 5-second rule. But she talks about how she studied how her body felt when she was nervous or anxious. She studied like the biology of that versus when she felt excited. And it's the same stuff that's happening inside yourself. Like feeling nervous is essentially the same as feeling excited. So she started to teach herself to reframe that nervous energy feeling into, I'm just excited. Like, this is excited. I'm not scared or nervous or anxious. I'm excited. So that's just a little tip that I use. It's really helped me when I get in situations where I feel like unsettled, nervous, anxious. I just tell myself I'm excited. This is exciting. I don't know what's going to happen, so therefore I'm excited. I'm not fearful. I'm excited. Being an introverted project manager is a really good fit for me. I happen to have a very specific type of introverted personality type where I'm very people-oriented. So it's a good choice for me because I like bringing people together. I like having conversations and asking questions and all of that kind of stuff. But I also like the downtime that I have as a project manager to be more analytical, to be more thoughtful about things where I'm not in sales, where I'm really extroverting myself or my energy. So it's a good balance for me. And it could be a good balance for you too, if you're an introvert. So I hope this helps you as you're navigating that question, thinking about that topic, or maybe it gave you some new insight onto introverted versus extroverted and how you use that in your career. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.